Okay, great. Thank you guys so much. Let me just work here. Give me just a second to share my screen.
And if you're just joining us, please put your phones on your phone on mute because we're getting a little background delay. So if you're not speaking, put your phone on mute.
I'm just looking for sharing computer audio. I hope I'm doing this correctly. Okay, share. Okay, can you guys see my presentation? You can. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I have a video in here, so I hope I did it correctly. Hold on, let me just make sure. If it doesn't work, well then, I'm sorry. I'm not so tech savvy. I try, but I'm not so. And I also want to apologize. My dog is right next to me, and Loretta can attest to this because she's heard him before. He snores really loud, and so it's actually not my stomach that's growling. It's actually my dog. So I would put him out of the room, but then he'd cry to come back in. So I apologize in advance for that. Well, welcome everyone. It's so great to be with you today. As Loretta mentioned, my name is Julie Odom. I am the Early Language and Literacy Director for the Alabama Partnership for Children, and I get to oversee this wonderful program, Feed Me Words, which we're so excited about, and I'm so excited to share with you. I've been with the Alabama Partnership, it'll be 11 years in August, and so I've gotten to do some wonderful things with the organization, parent leadership, obesity prevention work, some research around the economic impact of childcare, a lot of outreach with the organization, but by far, this has been my favorite thing to do with the organization. I'm very passionate about early language and literacy, as is the team that I work with on this project and program, and so really excited to share with you guys today about what we're doing. Okay, so an overview on our program. Feed Me Words was established at the end of 2018. Our major funder is the Alabama Department of Human Resources. We are a program, like Loretta mentioned, the Alabama Partnership for Children, and just a little background on that organization. We are a nonprofit organization created to develop, design, and implement a unified approach to improving outcomes of children from birth to 5 in Alabama. We are a public-private partnership, and we are a distinct initiative to develop and strengthen systems, forge strategies, and increase public awareness for all early childhood programs in Alabama. We're guided by a very diverse board of directors committed to enhancing the quality of life for children birth to 5 in Alabama by supporting strong families, access to quality health services, and quality early learning experiences. So Feed Me Words, our program, stands by the principle that all children in Alabama and everywhere should benefit from language-rich activities through everyday moments with the adults around them to enhance that healthy brain development. And so to accomplish this, our mission is to support the language and literacy development of Alabama's youngest children by providing the adults in their lives with access to and awareness of early language and literacy resources. We also know that we can't do this work by ourselves, so we partner and collaborate with many organizations, just like our Alabama Campaign for Grade Level Reading. We do that throughout the state to further this mission. We have, like I mentioned, that partnership with the Alabama Campaign for Grade Level Reading. Just to give you an example of that, we've worked closely with Loretta to provide books and resources to the children's policy councils throughout the state so that they could pass on those books and resources into their communities. And lastly, we replicate programs that actually began in Georgia. We've partnered with the Atlanta Speech School, and within the Atlanta Speech School, specifically the Rollins Center for Language and Literacy, and then the Georgia Department of Public Health, to promote programs that were already in place in Georgia and working really well. And we saw a lot of value and benefit in taking those programs and partnering with them in Georgia to bring those programs to our state. Okay, so the need, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but this is kind of what drives our mission is that why does language matter? And research demonstrates that the single strongest predictor of a child's academic success is not socioeconomic status, level of parental education, income, or ethnicity, but rather the quality and quantity of words spoken to the baby in the first 3 years of life. Hold on a second. Can you guys hear this? This video? No. I wanted to share. Let's see. Look one more time. Oh, share sound. Okay, hopefully this will work. Oh, let me go back.
My dad does the grocery shopping. He takes me along. There is so much to see, but
Oh, sorry.
We could hear that.
very busy. I wish I could help. I wish I knew what everything was.
I'm a little nervous. The doctor's office can be scary. What is she doing? Would it hurt? It would be so nice if someone just talked to me. I want to know what's going on.
Let's back up and imagine how things could have gone. Just as healthy food nourishes a child's body, language nutrition nourishes a child's brain. The quantity and quality of nourishing language is critical to brain development. More than 80% of a child's brain is formed during the first 3 years of life. That's why these early years are the most important time to talk, read, sing, and play with your child every day. Feed them words. To learn more, visit feedmewords.org.
Okay, so one of the ways that we promote the importance of early language and literacy is through outreach. And so what we have done is we've created a lot of PSAs and messages that we try to share statewide with parents, with childcare providers, and just the community at large. That's a huge part of our work. We've done that through social media, TV, and radio. And so if you want to see more, we have lots more on our Feed Me Words website, but definitely would love it if you guys want to share those videos with others as well, because we think they pack a punch in terms of the message that we bring. Again, about the need, and I'm sure this is not unfamiliar to y'all, but this is really looking at those NAEP scores, which is kind of referred to as the nation's report card, and specifically with regards to reading. As you can see here, this was in 2022 for the NAEP. The 2024 the NAEP was assessed again, but we don't have those results yet. But so this was for 2022. We see 28% of fourth graders, only 28% reading at proficient levels, and then 72% below. And so there you see that Alabama ranks 39th out of the 50 states on the fourth grade reading proficiency. So that's another driving factor for our mission, really working to change those numbers and move the needle. Okay, let's see. So our work has specifically 3 focus areas, and I'm going to talk more about these areas. The first one is read right from the start in the classroom. That work is really targeted to educational coaches and mentors that are going into classrooms and working with teachers. Read right from the start on Cox campus. Again, that's that partnership with Georgia. They are the ones who run Cox Campus, which is an online platform that has courses specifically designed for early child educators and even kindergarten through third grade teachers. So they provide those courses. They're free of charge. I would recommend everyone go visit Cox Campus just to see it in action. It's fabulous. And then Talk With Me Baby. Talk With Me Baby is more focused on parents, family members, and then those that interact with parents and family members. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about those as well. Our audience, as I mentioned, Read Right from the Start, is really focused on early care and education providers, early care and education coaches and mentors. That's been our main target for our Read Right from the Start work. And then that Talk With Me Baby work is really focused on parents and practitioners who work with parents, and then of course the community at large, educating them on the importance of this work and early language and literacy. So let's dive in a little bit into our Read Right from the Start work. Probably the biggest piece of our Read Right from the Start work is that Cox Campus. And Cox Campus removes the financial and physical barriers to educators' professional development by providing a portal for universally accessible free online continuing education. Those teachers that participate can earn professional development clock hours, they can earn CEUs, and they can earn a monetary incentive, all while enhancing the early language and literacy skills of the children in their care. When we started this program and really started promoting Cox Campus with providers in Alabama, one of the things we wanted to do was to give them a monetary incentive for participating, because we do know a lot of times childcare providers do not get paid to take those courses that are required for them to stay in the classroom. And so they do it on their own time. So we wanted to kind of reimburse them and give them some funding so they can take anywhere from 5 hours up to 10 hours of these courses. Our only requirements are that they take the Power of Language course for either infants and toddlers or for preschoolers. We do ask them to take that class, and they do have to submit some information, proof of employment in an Alabama Child Care Center. There's an intake form. They have to provide their transcripts, but we pay, if they take 10 hours of courses, we pay them $200. If they only take 5, we pay them $100. So that's been huge. Since 2019, we've had 2,558 early childhood educators receive the incentive. They've completed 20,680 professional development clock hours, all focused around early language and literacy. This amounts to $415,000 provided to child care providers. Our other piece of rewrite from the start is that in-person virtual early language and literacy coaching that we're doing with those coaches. So we're providing the training to the coaches. They're working with their teachers as they take these Cox Campus courses, and they're going in and they're modeling. They're working with them on the skills and the strategies, how to implement those. They were already going into the classroom, and so we've just embedded those skills and strategies with those coaches so that they can, it just has a more lasting impact for the teachers in the classroom, putting these strategies and skills into place. So far, we've trained 107 coaches and mentors who serve early care and education teachers statewide. We have worked with coaches and mentors from the Alabama Department of Early Childhood Education's Early Head Start Child Care Partnership, their Birth to 5 partnership there. We've also worked with Family Child Care Partnerships out of Auburn University. We've worked with East Coast Migrant Early Head Start. We've worked with several other Head Start partnerships. We've worked with the Secondary Educational Child Development Program, and we've also worked with the Alabama Infant and Toddler Professional Specialist Network. These partnerships with these coaches and mentors last anywhere from 1 to 2 years, so it's very intensive. We take a very deep dive into the skills and strategies learned on Cox Campus and how to best embed that into the work that they're already doing. We also provide books and resources to the classrooms that these coaches are working in, so that they have those books and resources ready to go and at their hands. And like I said, the reason for this model is because our team is small. There's no way we would ever be able to get into every child care classroom in the state, not to mention that their time is they don't have a lot of time. So we wanted to find systems that were already in place where we could just, give the coaches these skills and they can transfer it over to the teachers and work with the teachers as they earn their incentive. So it was a good model for making this happen. Lastly, at the bottom, we are embedding Cox Campus curriculum into secondary early childhood education. And so this is a new development. We're really excited about it. We recently established a partnership with Snead State Community College in Boaz, Alabama, and it will consist in 2 parts. First, will be the distribution of literacy and writing resources for the Snead State Community College Child Development Program's first mock classroom. And then we will offer professional development opportunities for 2 courses per semester. So we will embed those skills and strategies that I talked about on Read Right from the Start and Cox Campus into the coursework that they're already taking. So we're very excited about that partnership as well. Okay, so our Talk With Me Baby work, as I mentioned, Talk With Me Baby targets the large-scale workforces that already interact with new and expectant parents, including nurses, WIC nutritionists, home visitors, and more. Doctors, we've worked with quite a few different partners, and we prepare employees in these fields to coach families on the how and why to provide their baby with the language nutrition they need to support early brain development. And so when I say language nutrition, that's a term we like to use, that the use of language that is sufficiently rich in engagement, quality, quantity, and context, that it nourishes the child neurologically, socially, and linguistically. So quality and quantity of language, just like healthy food, is critical to brain development. So capitalizing on the strengths and resources and statewide reach of our partners, we're working closely with state agencies that oversee early care and learning, child welfare, Medicaid. So far, Talk With Me Baby has trained 215 first teacher home visitors statewide. Those include parents, teachers, HIPPY, and nurse family partnership to embed the strategies with Talk With Me Baby into their work. We also have forged a partnership with MyCare Alabama Central. They hold the Medicare contract to work with pregnant mothers all the way, I think, up until the child is age 9. So we have trained 28 care coordinators with them. And just, a side note, we were really interested in working with that group because 55% of the births that occur in Alabama are to mothers who are receiving Medicaid. So that was a huge number. And we wanted to make sure that we were reaching them as well. We've also trained 10 coaches with the Alabama Infant and Toddler Specialist Network. And lastly, one of the things I don't have on here, but we are supporting the expansion of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library statewide. We have been working closely with Loretta's group, and she, helped us pick out some counties that really had low proficiency rates and were rural. And so to date, we have been able to help fund 17 counties for participation in that program. We're very excited about that. And that just helps us to get books into the home. So we're talking to parents about the importance, we're doing that outreach, but we want to make sure that they do have books in the home so that they can read and talk with their children. Okay, so I wanted to talk just a little bit about our evaluation. In the last year and a half, we have contracted with the University of Alabama in Birmingham, their Applied Evaluation and Assessment Collaborative, to provide an evaluation of the work that we have been doing. We are not required by our funder to do this, but it was really important to me and to our team to make sure that what we're doing is actually working. If it's not, we need to pivot, we need to change, we need to make sure that what we're doing is making a difference. I mean, data is important. So that was kind of where we decided to go with that. Even though I don't have a final report to share with you guys today, we've seen some preliminary results. And so I was hoping to have a one-page infographic to share, but I don't. But be sure that when we have it, it will be up on our website to share. Some of the things that we see, they use some different methodologies for collecting information, one of which was key informant interviews. And as a result, the coaches reported to us feeling better equipped to work with teachers in the classroom. They also reported observing increased engagement around learning and reading in the classroom, students and teachers. The teachers observed improvements in verbal and writing skills of children in their classrooms as well in terms of looking at assessment. So that was exciting for us to hear. With regards to Talk With Me Baby, survey participants felt concerned and motivated to address literacy issues. 88% felt the professional development increased their awareness of strategies that support language nutrition, and 90% planned to make changes in their work with families and children as a result of the Talk With Me Baby professional development. In terms of things that we're really working on, and the thing that we see that's the hardest is just time. Coaches and teachers don't have a lot of time. So we're trying to find ways in our strategic plan to streamline things, to offer more trainings that are just virtual that coaches and teachers can kind of join in on as they're available to work on strengthening those skills and strategies, to provide training for new courses as they're offered on Cox campus to give them an overview. And so that's something that we're going to be working on in the future as well for improvements in our program. And really, that is all I have for you guys today. I didn't want to take too much time, but I've put my email here. You guys, if you have questions, I guess, I don't know if you want to do them now, Letter, we can wait till the end. Or you may want to think, and you might think of a question as we go through the rest of the presentations, but please feel free to reach out. Like I said, we love to partner with other organizations, and we're always looking, ways to partner as we move forward. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. And we're going to hold our questions to the end. Next, we will have Kaylin Christian to come forward to talk to us about Dolly Parton Imagination Library. And we are going to have to kind of rearrange our program. Reach Out and Read Alabama won't be able to join us. The presenter is sick. And so we will use the bottom part of our program just for a questions and answer session. So get your questions ready. But Kaylin, we're going to turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Liletta. Hi, everybody. I am Kaylin Christian. I'm the state director for Alabama from Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right. Can you all see my slideshow? Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So as I said, my name is Kaylin. I am the state director of Alabama for Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Liletta mentioned in the beginning that I am new in this position. I have only been here since about the end of April. But I'm not new to the work of early childhood literacy. I spent the first 10 years of my career working in youth services in public libraries in both Georgia and a couple of different spots in Michigan. During the course of my librarian career, I could see firsthand the impact that access to books has on young children. And Dolly's mission specifically of getting books into the child's home takes that impact to the next level for me. So that's just a little bit about why I was drawn to this position. And as you can see, the photos on this slide are of my son. We love reading books. Books are well beloved in our home. And I want that same thing for all young children ages 0 to 5 in Alabama. I really loved working directly with kids in the library. I loved doing story time. I loved seeing kids get excited about reading and impacting my local community in that way. But when the opportunity to work with the Imagination Library came up, I couldn't say no. I tell people, like, Dolly calls and you answer. You don't say no to Dolly, right? It's truly a dream. And I still get some of those things that I really loved about working in libraries. We get videos all the time of kids that are super excited to get their Imagination Library book in the mail. And we get feedback from parents about how much their kids love reading. And so that helps. That really, I still get to do all of that. And I get to make an impact with the Imagination Library on a larger scale. I get to help kids throughout the entire state of Alabama. I moved here from Michigan, and even though I'm not from Alabama, I have family that lives in Alabama. I have been coming and visiting many years since I was a small child. So Alabama is absolutely a place that is really close to my heart. And I'm so happy to be here and so happy to be doing this work with all of you. So the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library was really the flagship program of the Dollywood Foundation, which Dolly Parton created the Dollywood Foundation in 1995 to help manage the Imagination Library. She has some other programs as well, but this is really the major program of the Dollywood Foundation. It's a grassroots community-based book gifting program that mails high-quality, age-appropriate books to children from birth until their 5th birthday, and it is free to the family no matter their income. Right now, we mail just over 3 million books a month in 5 countries. We have the program in the United States, the UK, Canada, Ireland, and Australia. Obviously, the United States is the largest portion of the children enrolled in the program. 3 million books a month. That's a lot. That's 3 million children that are getting books every single month. 232 million books have been gifted since this program started in 1995, just in Dolly's home county of Sevierville, Tennessee. And recently, in the last couple of years, won a Best Practice Award from the U.S. Library of Congress for addressing social barriers to literacy. So this is kind of how the program works. This specific slide is going to be specific to the way that Alabama functions. So there are 2 different ways that the Imagination Library can work. The first is just location by location, really driven by the local program partner. So a local program partner can cover a specific city or just a couple of zip codes or a whole county. But it's really driven by them, and there may be a lot of other areas around that don't have Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Or it can function in the way that Alabama does, where we have a statewide program, which means that the goal is to get every zip code, every county in the state covered by a Dolly Parton's Imagination Library local program so that every child in the state, 0 to 5 years old, can register for this program. So this slide talks about the way that Alabama is structured. So the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, the Dollywood Foundation, is one piece of this partnership. And the primary role for the Dollywood Foundation is that we cover the overhead and the admin expenses. We provide what's called the book order system database and support for that database, which is what the local programs use to register children, kind of keep track of all the kids that are signed up, things like that. We also coordinate the Blue Ribbon Book Selection Committee. This is the committee that chooses the books for that year that are going to be part of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. They are all early childhood professionals. A lot of them have a background in education, health for children, and they come together and they read so many books. I mean, that you should see the stacks of books that they read through. They read every single one out loud, and they narrow it down based on so many factors that go into age appropriateness. They talk about rhyme, they talk about vocabulary, they talk about the illustrations. They narrow it down into really, really quality children's literature that we're going to be sending into the homes. We coordinate the monthly book order and fulfillment. So every Imagination Library book is specially manufactured with a letter from Dolly, tips for parents. Sizing is very specific for the mailing. And then we coordinate the fulfillment and shipping of the books as well. And then we send them to the registered child's home. The state level operating partner, so our state level partner is the Alabama Department of Early Childhood Education and Liletta. Their primary roles are to oversee a 50% funding match. So for each child per month, it costs $2.20. With this model, the state operating partner covers 50% of that cost, and then the local program partner covers the other 50%. So that helps to ease the burden on the local program partners, because a lot of them, like Julie said, they have helped so much, the Alabama Partnership for Children, with providing funding for some of the more rural counties. It can be more difficult for smaller, more rural counties to fundraise the kind of money to cover all the registered children. And so that funding from the state level partner helps kind of ease that burden. And then funding from other partners like the Alabama Partnership for Children helps even more. And that can cover the local partners 50% of that cost. And then the local program partner is a 501c3 or a school district in the area. When it's a state level program, the way that Alabama is, the coverage area for a local program partner is countywide. At this point in this kind of program, we don't prefer that local program partners pick, a small group of zip codes or a specific school district, something like that. We really want to see a local program partner cover an entire county, just to keep things really cohesive and working cohesively together. So the local program partner in each county promotes the program locally. They make sure that their community knows that this is available. They enroll the children 0 to 5 years old in their area. They contribute that $10, 50% of funds for monthly books and mailing. And then they manage the database of registered children. They keep track of approving registrations, if a child moves, transferring them to another program, if they age out, things like that. So why is Dolly Parton's Imagination Library important? Why does it work for early childhood education? So first, from a science perspective, it's important because we know that babies' brains develop rapidly, right? They're 90% developed by the age of 4. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with all of this, but I'm still going to say it. If we wait until a child goes to kindergarten to expose them to books and reading, it's too late. It's way too late if we wait until they go to kindergarten. The reading network in a child's brain does not naturally exist. It has to be built, and it's built by interactive reading and reading at home, and that requires books. And we know too that parents are the first and most influential teacher for a child, right? So reading together, parent and child reading together in the home is a hugely important building block for getting these kids ready for kindergarten, ready for grade level reading, all of that. Studies find that children with access to more books and who are read to more often have greater brain activity in the areas involving imagination, language, and understanding. Children whose parents read to them more interactively had greater activity in brain areas involving expressive language, working memory. And children who are more engaged in story sharing have been shown to have more activity in their cerebellum, which is connected to language and other areas of the brain supporting literacy. So more books and more frequent and interactive reading exposure is associated with greater integrity in the reading tracts of the brain, the language and literacy tracts of the brain. And then it matters because of love. It matters to strengthen a family environment, right? My son and I read together throughout the day, but it's also an essential part of my son's bedtime routine. And he always negotiates for more books. I tell him, go pick out 2 books. And he says, no 3 or no 4. Okay, I always let him get more because I love that time that we spend when he's getting ready for bed, just like snuggled up and reading together. It's my favorite part of the day. My son is almost 3. He has boundless energy. He is nonstop during the day. And so that time is really when we slow down, we sit together, we read these books. And having that kind of routine in the home really strengthens parent and child bonds, right? It supports the natural tendencies of the family. Parents want their children to be healthy and happy. And building those early literacy skills, we know, right, are important for success in school and creates a bond with children that lasts a lifetime. It's more than just books, and it's an investment into a child's future. Part of our program too is that it creates that event, right? The day the book gets delivered, it's an event. You go check the mailbox and that book is there and it has that child's name right on the mailing label. And then you have that event of, like I talked about with the routine, the bedtime routine of reading together. And then it happens every single month. It's something that these kids can count on, that frequency, right? Every single month, they're going to have this event of getting this book and exploring this brand new story with their parents. And that's just an exciting thing that all comes together to strengthen the home reading environment. And then the impact that Dolly Parton's Imagination Library has. It changes the way that families look at having books in their home. Reading is the most important activity for building the knowledge required for success in school, work, and life, right? Education is the great equalizer for everyone. If a child is enrolled at birth, that child will receive a total of 60 books by their 5th birthday. And that doesn't include books that then they may go check out from the library or borrow from a friend. That is 60 books that just belong to them in their home by their 5th birthday, unless they move to an uncovered area or their parents decide to opt out at any point, something like that. We know that children receiving Dolly Parton's Imagination Library books are about 30% more prepared for kindergarten than their peers that did not participate in Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which benefits the school system and teachers, right? Children who have grown up being read to in their first 5 years know how to sit still longer. They know how to hold a book. They recognize shapes and colors, and it levels the playing field. It creates equality for all students, regardless of their social background. Increasing reading 3 times a week from 59.7% to 85.2%. It increased a family's reading multiple times in the same day. And you see that almost 30% increase in kindergarten readiness. Also, children enrolled in Dolly Parton's Imagination Library showed significantly stronger reading, math, and science achievements consistently from kindergarten through 9th grade. And if we're looking specifically at like 3rd grade reading levels, they're outperforming their peers still. 3rd grade is 4 years after a child's 5th birthday when they graduate from Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, and they are still outperforming their peers that were not enrolled in the program. That's huge. That's a huge, huge benefit to this program. The impact of Dolly Parton's Imagination Library has been widely researched. There are studies from several states, probably half a dozen or more states, that show positive increases in key early childhood literacy metrics through participation in Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Now, let's talk a little bit about Dolly Parton's Imagination Library specifically in Alabama. So Governor Ivey launched this statewide expansion almost exactly a year ago, August of 2023. We now have programs in 62 of the 67 counties in Alabama. We have 4 counties that have partial coverage. So that means they have a local program partner. Usually these programs were in existence before that statewide expansion, and they only covered a school district or a specific city. And for whatever reason, maybe it's a funding issue, maybe it's a staff, threshold issue. For whatever reason, they can't expand to cover the entire county. So those counties are Marshall, DeKalb, Clark, and Escambia. And then we have 5 counties that don't have any coverage at all: Chilton, Conecuh, Crenshaw, Dale, and Henry. But this is a huge increase over what we had when the statewide expansion went into place last year. I believe, I was just looking at the numbers the other day, and I apologize that I don't have them exactly for you, but I believe we have added 10 or 11 countywide programs since this statewide expansion launched. And that is a huge increase. We have mailed to date in Alabama 482,481 books to children ages 0 to 5. And that's going to change pretty soon because it's almost time for our next monthly process. So we'll be mailing out probably another 67,000 books at the beginning of August. So this is huge. We still have work to do. We still have counties that we need to get coverage for, but we're moving. We're getting children in Alabama books, and that's the most important part, right? And two, I want to let you know that this map is actually a little bit outdated because just this week we had Blount County sign on as a committed county. So they're not enrolling children yet, but they have signed their agreements and they are getting ready. And I expect that they'll start enrolling children pretty soon. And then just at the end of last week, Geneva County became fully operational. So they were committed. They said, we're doing this. We signed the paperwork, but we're not enrolling children yet. That gives people time to fundraise and just kind of get everything ready to go. So they became operational. I also expect that Lawrence and Winston counties will become fully operational in the next week or two. There's just a couple little things that we need to iron out, and then they'll be ready to go. So things are moving quickly, and you all are champions in Alabama. So how can you help? What can you do to help Dolly Parton's Imagination Library in Alabama? You can advocate for the Imagination Library program in your professional and personal networks. Tell people about it. Tell people about the statewide expansion. Tell people that you know with young children to check if there's a program in your area and sign up their kids. Help us make connections with the unserved communities in Alabama. Go back in the recording and look at that map and say, do I know any people? Do I know any 501c3s or school districts that could help? We often partner with United Ways. We partner with children's policy councils. We partner with local school districts, family service centers, any organization that is a 501c3 or a school district can be a local program partner. So think about who you know that might be able to help us make connections in these counties where we don't have programs or need to expand. You can also volunteer with your own local program. Local program partners have a lot to do spreading the word, enrolling children, fundraising. So if you can help your local program, please reach out. I can connect you with them. Reach out to me and volunteer with your local program. And then connect with trusted partners in your community, daycares, WIC offices, pediatricians, to help parents, guardians, and caregivers enroll their children 0 to 5 years old. That is the best way that you can help us. And this is just one of my favorite Dolly quotes. You can never get enough books into the hands of enough children. And there at the bottom of this slide is my email address. If you want to reach out, if you have questions, if you have ideas, please let me know. I would love to have a conversation with you and talk about the work that we're doing in Alabama. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Kaylin and Julie, for your presentations. Really good information. I'm excited about that we are signing up more counties for this worthy program. And I'm excited because some of those, as far as Geneva and all of the counties in the state, we just would like for the Dolly Parton Imagination Library program to be a statewide program where every child in the state will have access to the program. So at this time, we're going to pivot our program to, allow you to come off mute and to ask any questions to our presenters, make any comments, talk about any takeaways that you had from today's presentations. This is your time. Darla, I see your mouth moving, but we don't hear you. and I'm gonna